welcome back to a special roster rescue. Today we are going live previewing the Thursday night football matchup, and it's finally here, guys. We are finally in the NFL season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Dallas Cowboys. I cannot wait to get this one going. So today I'm going to be answering some viewers' questions. I've took some questions throughout the week to answer for a couple people that have come at me. I'm going to preview the Thursday night football matchup between the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. We're going to hit it at all angles. So we're going to be talking fantasy. We're going to be talking the betting lines. We're going to be talking player props. We're going to get into every aspect of this Thursday night opening kickoff. Game of maybe of the week. It's a 9-point spread. It's ballooned up to 9 points. So you guys that are out there that do play the spreads, this opened up at around I think 6.5, 7, and it has ballooned to -9. So the Cowboys are getting 9 points on the road against the Buccaneers, who are the Super Bowl champions, obviously. The first team in 35 years to bring back all the starting players off a Super Bowl winning team. And they're fucking loaded. It's going to be sick, but 9 points is so much in the NFL. 9 points is so much in the NFL. So we're going to be getting to the betting angles of it. We're also going to be able to look into the player props. So a player prop is like Ezekiel Elliott. His rushing yard total is 55.5. So we're going to be getting into that because you guys can make some last-second bets to try to throw some money at some of these players. Say you don't like the -9. Say you think Tampa Bay is going to win, but possibly not by 9. Maybe you want to throw a little bit of change at one of these player props that we're going to be talking about. Also, we're going to get into the daily fantasy lineup for the whole entire week. And it's crazy right now because they put out these salaries weeks in advance. And I think everybody watching right now is probably going to know that Gus Edwards just suffered probably a season-ending injury. So the Ravens lose another running back. The third one in a week and a half for the whole entire season. Gus Edwards is more than likely out for the entire season. This is crazy. So whoever's watching, get your questions ready. Go ahead and type them in. Hit them on Facebook. Hit them on Twitter. Hit them on YouTube. TrueSerumFootball.com, True Serum Football on YouTube, at Zack Zander Twitter. I'm on my Facebook page. So however you're watching right now, shoot me your questions and I will answer them to the best of my knowledge. And it's week 1. So I always feel I have a pretty good grasp on week 1 on the betting angles and some of the things that are going to be happening in the fantasy world, but you never know what's going to happen. Something's going to throw a curveball this week, and I cannot wait to see it. And I have some questions already stocked up, so I'm going to let everything stock up a little bit. Let's look into the player props in this Thursday night game. So I'm going to bring up just the receiving. So as you can see right here, it's a little crazy because these are by far the 2 best wide receiver cores in the NFL. We're talking about Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin on Tampa Bay. And then you go the other side to Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. These teams are both loaded, and it scares the shit out of me in DraftKings and DFS. If you're just playing captains and you're just playing the single game, I'm scared to throw a lot of money. Michael Gallup would be my sleeper of the night just because it's only 4,900. Michael Gallup is the type of player that can take 3 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown very easily. I don't love too much tonight, man, because these teams are so loaded. They're so stacked, and almost anybody can beat you on any side. So let's just look through the receiving totals right here. Amari Cooper, 65.5, -110. Antonio Brown, 54.5. These all kind of scare me. I would probably, I'm looking at the Ezekiel Elliott, -22.5. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the best rush defense in the NFL coming back from 2020. And obviously they didn't lose anybody. Sue is back. Vita Vea is healthy, and Zack Martin's out of the game. I don't think Dallas is going to be able to establish the run, guys. If you're banking on Ezekiel Elliott, there's a reason it's only 55.5 yards for his total of rushing. It's because he's going to be probably used more in the pass game. So I like him over the 22.5. I think that's a smash bet that you can go ahead and make. You don't have to pay much juice on it. Ezekiel Elliott is going to catch some passes. So let's see what his reception total is. So his receptions looks like it's 3.5, over 3.5 plus 100. You know, I think he's going to get 4 receptions for around 30 yards. I see it happening. He's going to be struggling a little bit in the rush game. So go ahead and lean towards the Dallas passing game more than the Dallas running game because Tampa Bay is so stout and we're losing Zack Martin, which is an all-pro guard. So he's the best, absolutely the best guard that they have and one of the top 3 or 4 in the entire NFL. I'm fading Elliott's rushing yards, but I like the receiving. They're going to get the ball in this guy's hands. They want him to have a good season. They want him to start out fast. They're going to need Elliott. So of the reception totals, you know, I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb 5.5. I think they're going to use him in the slot pretty well. To me, this game is going to be Dallas more than likely catching up in the 3rd and 4th quarter, or at least trying to, and that's going to be Dak Prescott trying to throw the ball. And CeeDee Lamb's a guy that we're all waiting to explode. So that'd be a guy I'd probably pop on. Maybe I don't trust the Tampa Bay wide receivers. They have too many weapons, guys. Now let's go over to some of the quarterback props. Dak Prescott over under 310 yards. Now they just changed that because when I was doing prep on this, that's rushing and passing, excuse me. So 292.5 passing yards. So if you can do anything against Tampa Bay, guys, you can do anything against Tampa Bay. It's going to be to throw the ball when you have time. You're not going to want to plow right up the middle, play after play after play. Their linebackers are too stout. Their D tackles are too stout. Their corners are the weakness of the team, and they didn't really do anything to improve it from last year. So they're banking on putting you in a 3rd and long and Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett, the new rookie, trying to get at you before you can get a first down. But I like Dak to play kind of catch up in the 3rd quarter. So I think he's going to get a 300-yard passing game. I'm more confident on him getting 300 yards than Tom Brady. So that's the quarterbacks. I think it's going to be a passing game for Dallas, not a running game. Tom Brady, we're not sure who he's going to favor. Antonio Brown was getting a ton of targets at the end of last year when he was healthy, and he's looking great. You got Mike Evans on the outside, Chris Godwin, the power slot, Gio Bernard coming out of the backfield. You have a more in shape Gronk. You have OJ Howard, Scotty Miller, Jaden Darden, Tyron Johnson. I mean, it could get silly on how much he spreads the ball around. I don't trust anybody in these player props for Tampa Bay in the receiving game or in daily. Of course, you're going to be starting your Chris Godwins and your Mike Evans because you don't sit your studs, because even if they don't have a blowout game, they have the possibility of having a blowout game, and you don't have players like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans ever on your bench because they can go for 100+ and 2 touchdowns like it's nothing, especially against a porous Dallas defense. It's just hard to predict it on the daily fantasy terms and when you're making some player prop bets. So that's what I've been looking into. I like Michael Gallup in daily. I think he's a guy that is very cheap. That not because I think he's going to catch 10 passes tonight. I think it's because I just like his price tag. So let's go ahead and get into some questions for right now. And I'm gonna pop back into the betting angles. We can hit a little bit harder, but the over under is 52, which is very high in NFL standards. And the spread's ballooned to 9, and I'm not going to tell anybody to take Tampa Bay plus or -9. That's a little too much for me. So let's get some starts and sits real quick. Let's get some starts and sits, and then we're going to get back to the gambling aspect of it, guys. So on Facebook, I've had a couple people ask me some questions throughout the week, and I've wrote them down, and hopefully they're watching or they're going to catch up later if they weren't able to catch the show live. So the first question was, CeeDee Lamb tonight Or Austin Eckler, who is questionable with a hamstring injury. And it is so hard. It's so hard to predict injuries, guys. It really is. But we don't know what he's going to do Sunday. Now, I question what type of league you're playing in where CeeDee Lamb is ever a bench. Who are your other 3 or 4 wide receivers where CeeDee Lamb is on your bench? He is a must start tonight. I don't know how you could have 4, unless it's like a 5 or 6 team league. That's crazy. CeeDee Lamb is a must start unless you have like DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, and Tyreek Hill above him. Like, it's ridiculous. He's a top 12, 15 play this week very easily. Now the question is, where is Austin Eckler going to fit in your lineup? Because it's not confirmed that he's going to be out. It's not confirmed that it's going to be a very serious injury. So I'd have to see the rest of his team. But if it's just a CeeDee Lamb or Austin Eckler, as we speak right now, it's CeeDee Lamb, man. Get him in your lineup. Don't put him in your flex. Do not put him in your flex. You want the flexibility to change out a wide receiver, tight end, or a running back on Sunday. Do not put CeeDee Lamb in your flex tonight, but put that man in your lineup. Do not sit CeeDee Lamb. And I want to see that team. What the hell are you doing where you are questioning to even sit CeeDee Lamb? So anyway, let's go on. Another question from Facebook. Jared Goff against the San Francisco 49ers or Tyrod Taylor against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this is a tough one. Tyrod Taylor has about the lowest ceiling of any quarterback in week 1. They don't have – DeAndre Hopkins is not coming through that door. Obviously, Deshaun Watson, we know that story. The running back situation is murky. Like, I like Brandon Cooks, but, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Jaguars are probably like, all right, let's stop Brandon Cooks. Make somebody else on that team beat you. It's really hard to say, hey, go start Jared Goff against the San Francisco 49ers and have Nick Bosa come around the corner and just destroy him. But I think you're going to have to start Jared Goff because I know I'm going to get more volume of passes because Tyrod is the guy to just like last time we seen him was probably in Cleveland where he was just doing enough to where he wasn't losing the game, but he wasn't scoring many points, which he wasn't scoring many fantasy points. I'm not excited about starting either of them. If I had to choose, it's Jared Goff. And that sounds just sick saying, like, yuck. Start Jared Goff. I think you're going to have more opportunity for volume, even some late touchdowns. I mean, Houston could score 6 points. It wouldn't scare anybody or surprise anybody. I can't get into that. All right, so the next question will be, and this is a crazy question. So I need to start 3 in PPR. My buddy David Michael Woods, who's at my Debbie League. First one's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, CeeDee Lamb, McLaurin, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, and that's a mouthful, David. So you need to start 3 in PPR. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a must start for me. And I already told you CeeDee Lamb is a must start. Then you're going between Godwin, Evans, McLaurin, and DJ Moore. And I'm going to leave T. Higgins out of the discussion. Now, are we talking about another, loaded 8 or 10 team roster where you're just, where you just milked up value? It might be a Debbie league or a dynasty league where you have stacking up players, but damn, DJ Moore, McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb, Evans, Godwin. Man, I'm probably sitting Godwin and Evans and starting McLaurin, Lamb, and Edwards-Helaire. But good job, David, because your team is fucking filthy. And go ahead. Like, you can't make too many choices. Like, you're going to stay – like, if you start DJ Moore against the Jets, he's probably going to have a really good game also. I think McLaurin is by far the number 1 there. Curtis Samuel more than likely not playing. And CeeDee Lamb's a smash play tonight. And I sit the Tampa Bay wide receivers if I have to because they have so much competition for the targets. So it's really tough there. But, David, your team's loaded, so good job, buddy. So let's get to some questions that are from viewers that are watching right now. So thank you, guys. This is the first episode. So every Thursday, 7 p.m. sharp, I'm going live just like this on Twitter, on YouTube, on my Facebook page, on all of True Serum Football's pages. And we're going to get it in. We're going to get you ready for every week of Thursday Night Football. We're going to get you starts and sits throughout the whole entire week. Hit me up with some trade advice. Hit me up with some dynasty advice. Hit me up with some daily advice. We're going to go through some daily values in a little bit also before we get off here. But the main objective right here is I will answer as many starts and sits as you guys ask to the best of my knowledge. We'll try to get you ready to get that week 1 dub, which is so important. Nobody wants to start. Like we talk about fantasy football all damn summer. I mean, all spring. When you're finally here, you don't want to start out 0-1, guys. So we're going to try to get you that week 1 win. So Russell asks, full PPR, I need 1 for flex. Would you start Javonte Williams, Mccoy Hardman, Marquez Callaway, Jacoby Myers? You just 1 out of those 3. That's a pretty loaded question, Russell. And I'm going to get into it. We don't know what the split is going to be in the Denver backfield between Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. We really don't. Against a kind of a pesky New York Giant defense, I'm thinking that game is going to be a little bit on the low scoring side. I smell an under right there. That doesn't mean Javonte can't ball a little bit. It doesn't mean Melvin Gordon can't ball a little bit. Mccoy Hardman is a complete just home run swing. If you feel you are a team that it kind of playing a little bit behind the 8 ball and you need a home run swing, Mccoy Hardman might be the play. Marquez Callaway. Is he the New Orleans Saints wide receiver 1? And is Jair Alexander going to be following him all over the field as the number 1, or is he going to stick to his side? That's a huge question mark. I would more than likely lean towards Javonte Williams because I know that Denver staff loves him. I know Teddy Bridgewater loves him. He can catch the ball very well out of the backfield. The upside's there. None of these guys have a safe floor. So, Russell, if you're listening right now, my man, thank you for the question. And none of these guys have a very safe floor. So limit your expectations on getting a guaranteed 12 or 15. But I would go with Javonte because I'm pretty sure he's going to get there. I think he's going to get the double digits. He's going to get 3-4 receptions. He's going to be used in between the tackles. He's going to get some play. Go with Javonte. Callaway would be a close second to me, but there is a chance that Jair follows him around the field, and this guy's not getting open on Jair Alexander. I don't care. So good luck for Winston trying to find him if Alexander's following him everywhere, all over the field. Give me Javonte and just kind of hope you don't – none of those guys are going to be a very safe play. Javonte has the best chance of hitting 12, 15 without anything huge, like ridiculously happen. Like Callaway has to catch a 50-yard touchdown pass to be relevant. Javonte's going to get some work. So Richard asks, full PPR, Sterling Shepard or Mccoy Hardman? Here's another Mccoy Hardman question. Damn. Now this is like the opposite. This is like the nitty-gritty week 8 with 3 injuries and 5 people on bye. Richard, you're struggling. I hate to say it. If those are your 2 best options right now, maybe it's a very deep league. I'm not trying to put you under the table or anything like that. Those are some mid-season like tough decisions right here. Like who's going to get me 10? Who has the best chance to get me 10? And it's not Sterling Shepard, not in my book. Mccoy Hardman has that huge home run swing ability that Sterling Shepard just plain out doesn't. And they both could catch 2 passes and nobody would be surprised. Probably give me Mccoy Hardman and just wish. Hopefully he puts out like an 80-yarder for sure. So another one of my buddies, Zack, Fournette or Rojo? I know. Fournette or Rojo? What a tough question. And I own these guys all over the playing field. And I own them in a few leagues. I actually have Austin Eckler in. And they're not in my lineup right now because I don't know what I'm getting out of Rojo. I don't know what I'm getting out of Leonard Fournette. I don't know what I'm getting out of Austin Eckler. So I'd rather wait and see what the injury status is on Eckler before I put Rojo or Fournette into the lineup because they added Gio Bernard, who gets all those easy little dump down passes and screens. Who's going to be the guy that's going to tote it in between the tackle? Who's going to get those value touches in the red zone? We just don't know. They're going to mix it up so much. Tampa Bay, guys, is going to be very frustrating for fantasy owners minus Tom Brady. Yes, Chris Godwin is going to get his. He's going to still be a wide receiver 2, but he's going to have some weeks where he's not a wide receiver 2, and then he's going to have a couple blow-up weeks. So Tampa Bay is going to be a struggle this whole entire season unless somebody gets knocked off or someone jumps ahead of the other person volume. And if I had to pick one, it's Ronald Jones. I think he's the better running back. He shows some elite tendencies. He really does in between the tackles with speed and agility, with his size, a little bit of fumbling issues. And it comes with, and then Leonard Fournette's kind of like he was dropping passes at the start of last year. Is he in shape? Is he not? I was surprised they brought him back, but they did. They kind of saved him for the playoff. It's like playoff Lenny. So if I had to lean one, it would be Ronald Jones. But I'm not excited about it. He's more like I like him more, I guess, in daily as a flyer that can maybe pop. Like you don't expect a lot from him, but he has 20 point potential. But I'm not too excited. Lean towards Ronald Jones, but if Leonard Fournette outproduces him tonight, I would not be surprised at all. I just really wouldn't. It's going to be kind of a 50-50 thing between the two. Gio Bernard is more than likely going to be the third down back. Between all three of them, they could each score like 9 fantasy points, and one might get a touchdown, one get 4 receptions, and Ronald Jones would probably lead in rushing. So it could get crazy. Give me Ronald Jones, and I'm not excited about it. All right, let's go on. So if Eckler doesn't play, would you put Justin Jackson in the flex over Javonte? I would not. I would not, because first of all, I already said Javonte is going to get some work for sure. Javonte is going to get a ton of work, but Justin Jackson hasn't proved he's going to be that handcuff there right now. We know he's the veteran, but they have Roundtree, who was very impressive. Josh Kelly's there. They're probably going to be throwing the ball a lot against Washington, and I'm not trusting that Jackson is going to be that guy that's going to come in and get 15 plus touches. I just don't know. I'm going to have to see it that he's actually the handcuff. So put Javonte in there. He has a higher ceiling. I think he has a higher floor also. So Javonte is a much better play than Justin Jackson, even if Austin Eckler is out. And damn it, that sucks. It really does. I was all ready for the Austin Eckler show, outstanding receiving game, tough in between the tackles. He was going to be Justin Herbert's best friend. They're going to throw him screens. He was going to be the guy. We don't know the severity of the injury right now, and it's really upsetting this time of year. This has been, the last 6 weeks. It started with Cam Akers, and then it was Travis Etienne, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Austin Eckler now. The Michael Thomas entry, it seems like it's just bad news after bad news. And don't get too down, because I know some guys that had 3 or 4 of those guys on their team. They had Dobbins, they had Akers, they had Gus Edwards. I know someone that even had Michael Thomas, who's on the PUP list right now. And you're looking at that team you're like roster baiting all summer over it. And then right before the season starts, you get hit with the injury bug. And you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, guys. Don't get too down. Do not get too down, because if one of your guys gets injured, when you play in multiple leagues, hopefully you don't own them in every single league. And, someone else is taking the brunt of that injury bug in a different league. You got to take it and just kind of run with it. You have to keep playing that waiver wire. You have to get active in trades. Just don't sit back and die. You cannot just sit back and die. You have to be active. You have to go out and try to maybe flip a wide receiver for another running back, flip a couple wide receivers. Wide receivers are easier to find week to week on the waiver wire. They're easier to trade for. If you have an elite wide receiver, try to pair him with something to get maybe another running back. And, that's why depth is so important. Don't be one of those guys that just drafts your starting lineup and, goes and roster baits and jacks off on the side and thinks they're going to win a championship. You need depth, because injuries are going to happen. This is not flag football. even though the Gus Edwards was non-contact. J.K. Dobbins, actually, he got slammed, but most of these ACL injuries are non-contact, which is kind of ironic. But anyway, let's roll on. So Richard, where's Richard at? Thanks, broski. No worries. Will Jerry Jeudy break out this year? Anybody that's been watching me all season, anybody that's heard me talk at all, anybody that knows me, anybody that's played in a league with me or just talk random football with me, Jerry Jeudy is the number one buy in Dynasty. He was the number one buy at his ADP. He's the number one wide receiver to buy on your daily fantasy league. 4,900 on DraftKings or 4,800. I mean, he's a fucking steal. We're talking about a top 5 route runner in the league who had a bad case of the drops last year, but is ready to just exceed all expectations this season. Teddy Bridgewater is a guy that is very careful with the ball. And if you're not open, he just doesn't throw it up. I think this hurts Cortland Sutton more if it was than if it was Drew Lock as the quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater is a better quarterback for Jerry Jeudy because he wants that player to get separation, and then he's going to deliver the ball accurately. And he's going to find Jerry Jeudy open a lot because this guy cannot be guarded one-on-one by almost anybody in the NFL. He's an elite wide receiver. He's ready to show out. He is ready to show out. Mark my word. If he's not one of my favorite bets, anybody that wants to put any bets on some preseason player props, over under 925 receiving yards in 17 games for Jerry Jeudy. That's barely over 50 yards per game. Barely over 50 yards per game. Smash it. Smash over 925. Jerry Jeudy, if he's healthy, if he plays 11, 12 games, he's going to go over 925. Guarantee it. Mark my words. If healthy, Jerry Jeudy is going to smash 925. So yes, yes, Jerry Jeudy is ready to break out. I mean, if you can go get him right now, somehow redraft, dynasty, all formats, go get him, put him in your daily lineup, put him in your redraft lineup, put him in your dynasty lineup. Go buy his football cards. Those are they're skyrocketing too, man. Go get yourself some Jerry Jeudy. He's my favorite breakout candidate for the 21 season. So I hope I answered your question. My buddy Will asks, flex question. You starting Chase Claypool or Michael Pittman 0.5 PPR? Very tough question. Now, Michael Pittman is like the only wide receiver left in Indianapolis right now with Carson Wentz, who is geared up to be the starter after the injury hit about 5 weeks ago. It's all surprising. They're a run team, but they have to throw it to somebody. Michael Pittman would be that guy. If it was full PPR, I think it'd be a little bit closer for me, but I'm going to lean towards Chase Claypool. He has the higher ceiling. Chase Claypool has superstar ability. He has the higher ceiling, and at 0.5 PPR, like he might only catch 4 passes, but he can go for 100 and a 60-yard touchdown. I'm going to lean towards the higher ceiling play in half point per reception leagues. It's very close. I think Pittman can have a really good week against Seattle. He's going to be the number one there. Chase Claypool has to battle more for the volume. And in PPR, it'd be a lot closer, but I'm going to lean towards the higher ceiling play and Chase Claypool. Let's hope Big Ben, he lost a little bit of weight. You know, he's not watching Pornhub and drinking Busch Light anymore. Hopefully not. I don't know. But keep his arm strong and get the ball down the field to Chase Claypool because he's an alpha. He has alpha tendencies. He's waiting to emerge also, and he did emerge. 13 touchdowns last season, including the playoffs. So they get him the ball in multiple different ways. Hopefully it can be down the field because he's an elite playmaker. I'm going to lean towards Claypool, but it's real close. It really is. So next question. Full PPR, Shenault or Jeudy? Damn, that's tough. I'm going to go towards Jeudy for everything I already said. The Giants have a pesky little defense. Shenault is sharing the wide receiver room with DJ Chark, with Marvin Jones Jr., James Robinson is going to be in the mix a little bit. Judy has the higher ceiling. I'm very interested on how Urban Meyer is going to use Chenault. It's really close, and I think they're both going to be really nice plays. Give me Judy with a higher upside. And I mean, come on, I just spent 5 minutes just hyping the guy. How could I say Chenault? How could I say sit Jerry Judy after I just went on and on? So yeah, start Judy, but I think those are two really good plays. So let's go down the list a little bit. My buddy Will, I don't see Javonte getting a ton of work. They paid Melvin Gordon good money. That was also a year ago, and they aren't bringing him back next year. He's looked good this preseason. I expect him to get the bulk of the work, so he's not really asking a question. He's replying to him. I don't know, man. They traded up to get Javonte Williams. So this dude's by far like in their plans right now. If you listen to any of the beat writers, they're on Javonte. Like Vic's a Javonte fan. Teddy's comparing him to Alvin Kamara when he was in New Orleans. Javonte is going to be used in the pass game, guys. I think it's going to be 50-50 between the tackles, and whoever gets the hot hand might be the player to get all the touches in the third and fourth quarter. Expect them to start the season 50-50. I mean, all around. I mean, it could be Javonte, 2 runs, and then he plays the third down for a series, and then Melvin comes in and plays the series. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be a little frustrating. I think they both have some flex potential. I don't know if they're both top 20 plays, but I think they're both in between 20 and 30. So they're both very playable. I wouldn't sleep on Javonte, man, because he has that upside. How are we feeling about the Tampa Bay situation? My buddy Travis, I don't know if you heard me earlier. I don't feel comfortable about anybody in the backfield at Tampa Bay because Gio Bernard is going to be taking a lot of the third down. And Leonard Fournette, that was kind of his role last year. You know, you don't know who's going to be the running back in the goal line situations. Ronald Jones might be at this time. Leonard Fournette might be at this time. Like, it's a lot of the same situations that are going to be coming up with the Denver Broncos. Talented running backs. All these guys are talented. Javonte, Melvin, Fournette, and Ronald Jones. They're all big 220-pound backs. They all have good speed. They all can catch the ball. It's really crazy. Like, these 4 guys are kind of clumped together. And if I'm Baltimore, like, man, how did you – I'm calling one of these teams and trying to get Melvin Gordon or trying to get Fournette from Tampa Bay or going out to try to get a running back. Hey, hardball. Flavian Bell is not the answer there. Tyson Williams is not the answer. I don't know. Lamar Jackson is about to rush for 2,000 yards unless they get this guy some running back help. Gus Edwards, if nobody heard earlier, apparently very serious knee injury, more than likely a torn ACL, out for the season. J.K. Dobbins already out for the season. Tough situation for any Ravens fan. I have one in my big dynasty leagues. Johnny, man, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Tsunami hit you this time, buddy. Anyway, to answer your question, I think it all sucks. Stay away from it today. Really, I'm staying away from the Tampa Bay running back field. I'm benching them everywhere. I'm not playing one running back from Tampa Bay right now. And I have Austin Eckler in a couple leagues where I'm going to take the chance that Austin might play, and then I have to find another replacement before I start Ronald Jones or before I'm going to start Leonard Fournette. It's just not good. It's not going to happen. So Will says, no love for Paris Campbell. Hey, man, Paris Campbell's from Akron, Ohio, 12 miles up the road from me in Canton. And he went to Ohio State, which is not my favorite team, but I love the speed of Paris Campbell, but it's like, man, we're 2 years in and we haven't seen you make like one play yet. I can't get too excited for that. You got to be on the field. Your best ability is availability. Paris, get on the field. They obviously need him. T.Y. Hilton's possibly out for the season, at least half the season. Michael Pittman is nice, but he's not a alpha guy. They don't really have a tight end of note. It's a scary situation right there. I'm not in love with Paris Campbell, man, but he's going to have some opportunities if he can stay on the field. So, Brian Edwards or Henry Ruggs, who do you prefer? And I love this question because we're talking about Tampa Bay, who goes like 5 deep at wide receiver. Dallas, who has 3 stars. I mean, 3-star wide receivers. And Las Vegas Raiders are sitting there with Waller and 2 rookies last year who underperformed. Bryan Edwards and Ruggs could not be – they're the polar opposite players. One is 6'2", 210, underneath guy, power guy on the outside. The other one is 5'11", 185 pounds, one of the fastest players in the league. Electric. Edwards is kind of your plotter across the middle, 10, 15 yards. Ruggs is a guy that can take it to the house every single play. If it's a similar situation, I always lean towards the upside and the ceiling of a Henry Ruggs. He was drafted 12th overall. And I thought we were about to see the breakout of Henry Ruggs last year. And then he twisted and sprained his ankle against Kansas City after a very long play. And we've never seen it ever again. I'm hoping he comes in 100% healthy. Hopefully he redefined his route tree, worked on his craft, and John Gruden is going to go out of his way to get this guy the ball, because why did you draft him 12th overall not to use him? Now, Bryan Edwards is nice. He's a 3rd-round pick. He can be a starter in the NFL if he can also work on his craft and improve, but he doesn't have the ceiling of a Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs can take 3 catches for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns like that, like in a snap of a finger. I'm not too excited about any of them, man. I mean, I feel bad for Carr. I really do. I think he is a lot better quarterback than he gets credit for, because they're not getting him enough weapons around to perform with the Kansas City Chiefs. And then you see the weapons that Denver has. And then even the Chargers. Get this guy some weapons. Like, they keep bringing in running backs instead of wide receivers when they already have Jacobs, who's a stud. So give me Henry Ruggs because of upside, but they're not very far away. Like, if we're talking dynasty, Ruggs is higher up on my list, but not that much. Not by that much. If Bryan Edwards comes out and becomes a number 1, it would not surprise me. Not one bit. It really wouldn't. So one of the biggest questions I had was, who to start tonight, Tom Brady or Dak Prescott? And then I was going through it in my head, and it was kind of stupid because I think they both have 2 of the safest floor. They're both 2 top 5 quarterbacks in the for the whole entire week. So I was just kind of happy to get either one. So I was trying to bring in one of the questions I had, and then even one of my friends was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Zack? Just start one and just pray for it, because Dak might have the higher ceiling tonight." Like I said, I think he's a lock for 292 tonight. That's his over-under, 292. I think Dak is a lock to go over on that, even if it's later in the game playing catch-up. That's fine. We all know fantasy stats count in the 4th quarter when you're losing by 3 touchdowns. It does, man. So Dak Prescott is a smash play. Don't be worried about his shoulder. I think he's going to be fine there. I do worry about Zach Martin for the run game, but they're going to do enough to get the ball out of his hands quickly. He's going to be throwing it down to Dak. He's going to be throwing it to CD in the slot. Look for Gallup that possibly get a big play or 2, because the corners on Tampa Bay, you can get popped with them for sure. So Travis has another question. My man, met him over the weekend in Canton. Great dude. We had some fun for the Fantasy Football Expo. Anybody next year, 2nd weekend in August, we're doing it again. I think we're doing it on the Hall of Fame field. I'll have to get back to everybody about that, but next year I'm pretty sure the Fantasy Football Expo is going to be at the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, on the football field. I cannot wait. So, Travis, the Ravens, do you believe with all these injuries, would that make Mark Andrews more comparable to Hawkinson in terms of volume? Now, Mark Andrews, to me, his ranking adjusts more than any other player depending on what format you're playing. PPR, I'm not in love with Mark Andrews because he might only catch 3 or 4 passes and that's not going to always get it done compared to TJ Hawkinson, who's going to get a ton of volume for the Detroit Lions, who have just nothing on the outside. Now, if you play in a standard league, I actually prefer Mark Andrews over Hawkinson because I believe their yardage is going to be similar, and the touchdowns are definitely going to favor Mark Andrews. He could easily have 10 touchdowns this season. Now, one of the biggest questions with him also is injuries. Mark Andrews seems to go out and make a great play, and then he gets a turf toe or he gets a banged up thigh, and then he has to either come out of the game or he's questionable for a couple weeks or he misses a game. He seems to get nicked up a lot. Hawkinson, a little bit of the same thing his rookie season. Not so much last season. It was pretty steady. So it really depends on the format, Travis. In PPR, I prefer Hawkinson, even with all the injuries, to the running backs in Baltimore. I really do. But in a non-PPR league, even 0.5 PPR, I think it makes a big difference. Hawkinson, his value is in the volume he's going to get in the receptions, in the target share. He's going to have a huge target share in that Detroit offense. And even with these running backs down, they're going to have to lean on Mark Andrews, but still they're going to be running the ball with Lamar. They're going to put somebody back there, either it's Williams or Lavian, or how about Adrian Peterson? Like Adrian Peterson, I favor him over a lot of people that are on NFL teams right now. Peterson still showed some juice last year. I don't care what you say. I know he's a relic. I know he's older in dirt, but Adrian Peterson was putting out good tape last year, So that'd be one of the players I look at for Baltimore to sign. Maybe Latavius Murray come in there and serve the same exact role as Gus Edwards. I mean, they're almost the same exact player to a T. I mean, if I'm Baltimore, I am making an all-out play on either Latavius Murray or Adrian Peterson, and it's not even close. They're going to bring somebody in, Travis. That's the thing. They're going to bring somebody in that they don't have right now that they carry the ball. Or Lamar's going to rush for 2,000 yards. I mean, plain out and simple. Andrews does not get a big enough target share in PPR for me to put him with Hawkinson, but it's the polar opposite. If you play in an old standard league, which I still do play in one, I still play in one standard league, I actually favor Andrews than Hawkinson. So it depends on what league you play in, and that's the type of stuff you guys have to pay attention to. If you are going into a new league or if they're making changes or anything, if it's PPR or half-point PPR. So it's a big difference. It really is. So in a touchdown-dependent league, give me Andrews all day. Let's move on. Thoughts on Corey Davis? So Corey Davis was a guy who I was very low on coming out of college. I thought he was a terrible pick for the Titans, fifth overall. I thought I had a second-round grade on him, and he really took 4 years to show anything. Last year, he was nice on a run-dependent team with a stud on the other end. He had A.J. Brown on the other side. He had Derrick Henry. Corey Davis, he can get open in this league. He can. Now, the Jets are a big question mark. Zach Wilson is going to sling the ball around, guys. He is. The scheme's going to be kind of nice. It fits him to a T. They're going to put him in some really good situations. They don't have a stud running back. Who knows who's going to be back there. Corey Davis, they bring in, and they paid him a decent amount of money. I was a Denzel Mims guy, and I don't know if he's going to work himself into the starting lineup. They drafted Elijah Moore very early in the second round. I look for him to be a big favorite of Zach Wilson very early. No tight end of note. I don't think anybody's going to show out there. So Corey Davis has a chance to be a solid wide receiver, 3 in fantasy football. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends the season with 70 receptions, maybe close to 1,000 yards, maybe 6-7 touchdowns, nothing crazy, something you can start. I see some dead weeks, definitely some dud weeks, but hey, welcome to the wide receivers. You're going to get some dud weeks. He's nice. Corey Davis is nice, man. If you're starting him in this week, it's Arizona. I'm calling that to be one of the biggest shootouts of the whole entire week. Arizona, Tennessee Titans, they're They're going to be scoring some points. He's not on the Titans. Dumbass. Zack, the Carolina is playing the Jets. Excuse me. So he's going to be playing the Jets. I also kind of see that a sneaky high-scoring game. Corey Davis no longer on the Titans. He's on the Jets. More than likely, they're going to be playing from behind the third and fourth quarter. Corey Davis should be fine this week. I'm sorry I mixed up teams. So Travis said, I wish the Ravens would trade for Hunt, but that won't happen. Yeah, I don't think the Browns are going to trade to their biggest rivals in the division. I as a Kareem Hunt owner in a league or two, yeah, I would love that also, but that ain't happening, man. The Browns are ready to rock and roll with 2 running backs, Kareem Hunt as their receiving back and the backup power back. Nick Chubb is going to have a fantastic season. Now, I am not a Browns fan, even though I'm from Canton, Ohio. I'm not the Browns fan. I'm just not. But this team is loaded. I mean, they really are. This team is loaded. They're ready to rock and roll. And Cleveland fans, man, I feel bad for. They are the most dedicated fans I've ever seen because they've just been shit on for like 30 years, and they finally have a team. It's the first time in my lifetime, I'm 35, the first time I can ever remember that the Cleveland Browns have a better roster than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's almost insane it's ridiculous to even think about. Like Kareem Hunt, I think could be a number 1 running back anywhere, and that's not even a question. Like that he could. And then they're going to bring in Kareem Hunt, and he's going to bang you. And then next thing you know, they're going to bring in Chubb for a screen, and then he's going to take it to the house just like he did in the playoff game against Pittsburgh. Sorry about that. And I was trying to look up the DFS, my superstar plays of the week. We have about 10 minutes, man. We're about to get some football. So anybody else, any more questions, hit me up, please. I'll get them in the last 10 minutes, but until I get some more questions, I'm going to go through some of my favorite plays of the week on DraftKings. And, some of these were set a while ago. So Jameis Winston is only has a salary of $5,200, which to me is absolutely ridiculous because it's the New Orleans Saints and they're going to be passing the ball a lot. Even with Kamara being the center of their universe, so to speak, like it's mostly in the passing game. Like Jameis wasn't the starter till about 3 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure that line was already out. So 5,200 compared to some of the other players, it is not even close. Like, give me Jameis Winston. Even though I said Jair is going to be following Marcus Callaway all over the field, they're going to find somebody else. Sean Payton is going to put them in a good situation to score points. Jameis is going to throw for a lot of yards. I expect 300. I don't know who he's going to throw it to. I really don't. I don't know who is going to be catching all these passes other than Alvin Kamara, but mark my words, Jameis Winston is going to go for 302. It's that simple. Sean Payton's that good. So my favorite running back at his salary. So this isn't who I think the best play is. I usually put a ton of my salary in daily fantasy into the running backs, and then I kind of piece and part everything else because there's so many wide receivers that have some value. And it's going to be Mike Davis from Atlanta, only 5,400. They don't have anybody else there. Philadelphia, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's kind of yuck right there. So give me Mike Davis in my daily lineup as probably my RB2 or my flex, and then I will figure out everything else on the other end. I think he's going to get the workload. The volume is going to be there. So I'm going I'm chasing the volume. He should be the power back. He should be the goal line back. They're going to have a lot of opportunities against the sorry Atlanta defense or the sorry Philadelphia defense to the punch in a touchdown or two. So real quick, I do have a question. Will Rondale Moore take targets away from D-Hop? Not a chance. Not a chance. Rondale Moore is kind of their Percy Harvin, their gimmick player, their Deebo Samuel. He's going to be running reverses. He's going to be lining up in the backfield. He's going to be returning kicks. He's going to be doing all the stuff that you see like a Deebo do, but it's not going to be like 9-10 targets. He might get 4 or 5 targets. He might get 2 carries and a punt return. They want to get him like 10 touches, but it's not necessarily going to be just in receiving plays. D-Hop is the guy outside. He is going to command volume. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If anything, Rondale Moore opens up the field a little bit for DeAndre Hopkins, for Kyler Murray. We're not sure what we're going to get out of AJ Green, but they are obviously more the same type of player that I would get into. So I like Rondale Moore. He's nice and all, but don't worry about him taking anything away from DeAndre Hopkins. So I do want to share my screen real quick here and show you the wide receivers. So and don't get me wrong, I love all these guys. I love the Tyreek Hills and the Devontae Adams at a price of $8,300, $8,200 respectively. Calvin Ridley, I love these guys. DeAndre Hopkins, we just talked about him, but these aren't the guys I'm putting in my daily lineup. Not these top 5 to 6 guys. Now, Stephon Diggs, torched Pittsburgh last game. Don't get me wrong, he torched them, but I want to scroll down here a little bit and find a little bit more value. So let me find the players I've been eyeing on. So I'm going past this too. Even like McLaurin at 6,400 is pretty enticing, but I have some guys, if you load up on your running backs with a lot of your value, I usually try to get a higher tight end, and then I pick off some guys with some high upside, like a Chase Claypool at 5,600. Even Cooper Kupp at 5,500. That's a guy that's going to get a lot of volume. Tyler Boyd, I absolutely love. He's going to catch a ton of passes this season. He's going to be the safety blanket for Joe Burrow. Smash Tyler Boyd at 5,200. That's really nice for sure. We talked about Shenault earlier. I like him. I cannot wait to see what Urban Meyer does with him. But the upside is a little shaky. I feel like he doesn't have a top 15 type upside, and his floor is still a little murky because how is the volume going to get distributed there? So I think it's a decent price there. He's not the player I would jump on, even though I love the talent. Hollywood Brown is a player that kind of like Henry Ruggs, man. He could go for 4 catches, but for 150 very easily. He's the type of wide receiver on these. If you're playing big matchups, big tournaments, you need a player like that can go off. But what I'm eyeing on is this under 5,000 because I'm finding a ton of value with Jerry Jeudy at 4,800, Devontae Smith at 4,500. These are guys with elite talent that are just that you're not ever going to get these guys in. You're never going to be able to put these type of guys in your lineup for this cheap again. I like to build my lineup around guys like this. I try to find the best values, and then I see how much high-end running back value I can put with it. And then maybe I can get a Kelsey in my tight end spot. So even farther down, you can find a little bit of value here. Cole Beasley's he's 12 points waiting to happen. If you need someone to just pin in there that you want to get some decent points out of. Emmanuel Sanders also. This Buffalo Bills, they have to throw it to somebody, and they don't run. Michael Pittman at 4,100 is an absolute smash. This obviously was before he was considered the number 1 and T.Y. Hilton was out. So go smash Michael Pittman at 4,100, man. That is not a bad rookie season, really, for the games that he played. He was averaging pretty good for a player that only played 8 games. Looked really good in the playoff game. He expects to be the number one. Hilton's not there. Paris Campbell's not it. I'm sorry. It might be a run team, and Carson Wentz might be throwing him the ball, but, man, they got to throw to somebody. I'm going to end it with Darnell Mooney. Now he has a questionable tag right now. Something that kind of came out of nowhere. Allen Robinson is going to probably be followed by Jalen Ramsey every step of the day. Jalen Ramsey might follow Allen Robinson into the locker room at halftime and watch him shower or something. He's not going to leave Allen Robinson for one play. So Mooney, if he's 100%, make sure to check your injury report. He should be good to go. I think Darnell Mooney can have a sneaky good game on Sunday night. So you see, Waddle's at 3,600, man. Like, talk about a player that could come out and just explode, even though it is against New England. Marvin Jones Jr. There is some killer value at the wide receiver core. That's what I'm talking about, guys. I like to fill my lineup with these. I try to get as much Kamara, Dalvin Cook, McCaffrey as I can, and then I fill in my wide receivers with some of these guys with the high upside value, and try to be a little bit ahead of the curve, because I don't think everybody's caught up to it quite yet. So we're about 2-3 minutes out from ending the show, man. This is the first week Roster Rescue Live Thursday night football preview. So if I got to help anybody today, good. I'm hoping to bring in more people every single week. I want people to be interactive with me. I will respond. Hit my DMs on Twitter. Hit me up on Facebook. Hit me up on TrueSerumFootball.com. Watch the YouTube streams. I'm posting rankings. I'm posting Devy. I'm posting Dynasty. I'm posting Daily Fantasy. I get it from every angle. I'm here for you. So every Thursday, put it in your calendar, 7 p.m., Thursday night preview, starts and sits. We're going to talk trades. Hit me up with your trade questions. And I'm here for you, man. I want to be interactive. And if you guys don't know the True Serum boys, crazy. Talk about some of the funniest guys I've met in the industry. It's these True Serum boys, man. Too much. Make sure you check out their memorabilia slots. Make sure you're checking out the Fuego boxes and all the giveaways and all the raffles that they do. It is, man, I've never laughed so hard in my life than when I'm just doing a quick talk through with Joey Fickle and Travis and Jordan and these guys at True Serum Football. So I want to thank them for bringing me on. And, everybody, good luck. I'm going to end it right now. Everybody, good luck. Hit my DMs for questions at Zack Zander on my Twitter feed. And, I'll be back next week.